We are live. Awesome. Nice. Hello, hello. Roger and I am going to be live more often now, and we're starting this new series called Higher States Solutions, as Roger is always coming around with universal solutions. and so am I. So excuse me. We haven't prepared, but we don't need to because content is there. And yeah, it's just a pleasure to be here. So thanks, Roger, for taking time. I think everyone is appreciating the value that you and also Wilhelm is giving.
I just thought of something. So since we're doing this now, and I just wrote a message and put it up there, we'll talk about that.
Awesome.
And people will understand how my mornings go and how they've gone every day since 1988. And this is why I have information. But this morning was about timing. And it was a message that came through in 2012. And I was supposed to look at it today to say that the timing of your life is always perfect. That's for all of us. We each come into the world with a plan, something we're meant to live, experience, and all of that. And it's comprised of every situation, every life event that we have. But then we have to choose how we're going to look at those. And we're going to look at them as either something that's helping us to grow and evolve in our consciousness or our awareness, or it's something that's being thrust upon us that's something horrible. And if we're in whatever choice we're making, we're putting energy into our lives and into the world. And then eventually we start to understand that they're all connected, that it's all the same. And the one thing that was so interesting, this message, and I used to receive this all the time, the integrity of your physical life experience. I go, what the heck does that mean? And so this morning I had to look up, what's the definition of integrity? And so there are a few of them, but we all have it within us. And it's about that, this kind of moral compass, this kind of guide. And at this time in our world, that's what we're each needing to find within ourselves. Then the other part of that, it was this, it says, and the message came out, though, it was about self-love.
Mm-hmm.
And there was more that I didn't write, but I was hearing all of this. And I said, well, you cannot love yourself while hating another. And that's a concept that is really challenging for us to understand. But we're going to, in this period in our world, we're going to want to come to understand it because it's the only way we can live the lives we want to have and to have the world we want to have as well. Okay,
integrity is a fascinating thing. Like it came up just in the video that I showed you. They say that the humanoid cats, they did have integrity or have a high level of integrity as well. And they do have this within their beliefs, within what they stand for, right? Their essence, I think, is a great way to put it. And it's very interesting. Like the moment that I heard of integrity the first time, I didn't really knew what it was as well. I'm not too much of someone who researched a lot in the past. So I'm just now really developing to research more and to question certain words to find out what they mean. Though, like I found out that I have to find integrity really within myself rather than seeing what other people say is integrity, right? If it's like, if someone's integrity is based around really having a super structured day and having everything in alignment, or like everything is just following a path, does not mean that this is my way of living as well. It is more like integrity for me is also something very unique that we have to find or to trust. Rather, I think this is something that we do have and always have had. But yeah, it's interesting, the messages that you give and the words that I'm saying, they harmonize.
Well, let me talk about that. I want everybody to understand this. We live in our consciousness. We live in our consciousness and our awareness. That's the only way that we exist. And we have different levels of that. And we can sometimes be, we're always locked into this time right here in this moment, not understanding that we have consciousness that extends forever. our consciousness is always existing. Another concept is
Mhm.
hard to understand, that we're just spirits. We're just coming for a while in physical bodies, so we're not here forever. So what's going to make the biggest difference is how we choose to live our life, and how are we experiencing ourselves now. And that is what is happening. So when I used to receive this information, it didn't make sense to me at first. And it was always a period of time that I had to say, oh, okay, I get it now. I understand. And if we think of any sort of education that we receive in our lives when we went to school or whatever, it was a progression. And that progression happens in our thinking, in our consciousness. It happens within us, the individual, and also the world. And the world hasn't caught up yet. This is why we're having so much discourse, because not enough people understand that, oh, we're supposed to be love ourselves. We're supposed to be equal. We're supposed to all be, and it's a thing that we never come to because if we did, we probably wouldn't have a planet, because we always need contrast in order to evolve. And we're in a process of evolution.
I like the way that you frame it, that we're not having it yet, because what you say with it is that we're moving into it, and rather
Right.
than being negative on it and casting a negative spell on us as a collective, we're saying we're not there. That would
Right.
be more in terms of holding us back from where we want to be. And I believe that the majority of the people on this planet want to be happy, want to live their best life, want to be joyful, right? And just do what they love. But therefore, we have to find a way to at first know, or we have to learn who we are, and then asking ourselves those important questions with who am I, right? And why am I here? Those questions are how many people really can answer those questions.
Let me give you my answer.
Cool.
Every person comes for the same reason. Every single person is born for the same reason, and that is to live a really great life. Now, they will have different paths that they're going to take to get to
Mhm.
that place. And sometimes they look crazy. Sometimes they look difficult. Sometimes they look challenging.
They
Sometimes
do.
they look like tragedies. However, when we move through them,
No.
then, oh, now we have a whole different experience of who we are. And then we've given something back to the collective, the world,
Mhm.
because that's how the world evolves. We certain simple concepts that we don't typically think about is that, wait a minute, the world isn't the same as what it was 100 years ago. How did it get that way? It got that way because people came in and took information that had existed before, decided to improve upon it, and then we start living longer for some strange reason as humans.
Mhm.
That's what goes on, and it's gone on since the beginning of time. However, we also have a split that happens at times, and that split has happened over centuries where we think one person is better than the other. And that is the split that we're attempting to heal at this time in our world. But we can only do that when we heal it first within ourselves. And that's why the message this morning said, self-love is a choice, and we each make it.
I love that. And then again, what's the perspective of better or worse, right? Someone might be better in sitting on the couch and eating chips than I am, right? It's again
Mhm.
like from what perspective are we coming? And if like the concept of being equal is something that I'm also now contemplating through something that you say, but also through something that I have listened to from 19 Keys, that he said he doesn't believe in that we are equal because we do have different strengths and different abilities. Maybe this is where we
Mhm.
are equal in. Again, for me, it is about the perspective and the angle that we're looking at it from, right? Better or worse,
That's
again,
all.
yeah,
And so, in that sense, and this is why every single human person born is equal. I'm going to explain this
sure.
because the only thing that we have again
Mm-hmm.
is consciousness. That's all we have. And we have a choice as to how we use it. Now, to I don't want people to feel that somehow they're missing the boat because we have different evolutionary paths. So no, we're not going to be in the same place in our evolutionary understanding, but we still have choice to go to the next level, which is a higher level of understanding, which is what we're doing now. We're individually and our planet. And so, in that sense, the choice is, and the where we are all equal is our ability to choose. And that is a choice we make in every moment.
I love the concept of choice, just having an eye at the dog here right now as I allow him to be on the bed, and I don't know if he is doing something that I do like. Um,
Oh, you muted.
yeah, his name is
Yeah.
Dino, by the way. So, he is just like, you know what dogs doing with their feet? Like he chooses to just like move the blanket away with his feet, and I just wasn't sure if that's a good thing to do.
That's comfort. No,
But he
he,
just
that
makes it the way that he
yes,
can lay in it. Yeah,
exactly.
I'm
Yes,
getting it. Yeah.
yes.
He looks very chill. I'm taking care of him for the last few days, and yeah, he likes company. I think we all do. So
Mhm,
to find back to the choice, and again, in every single moment we do have the choice. And then
mhm,
again, it is my choice now. I could now not see the solution of being in peace and just letting him be. I could be annoyed. If you
mhm,
would have seen me, or maybe half a year ago, maybe a year ago, I wouldn't have been as patient as I am
mhm,
right now with having him on the bed. The other day, he chewed my headphones, and I'm like,
mhm,
so the headphones are gone now. I can't use them anymore.
mhm.
Right? I come into the room. I'm looking at the bed and I'm seeing the headphones in pieces. So he chewed one of those one side.
He wanted to be close to you.
He wanted to taste me. He
Yes,
wanted to
exactly.
be with me. And this is then their way of expressing it. So yeah, dogs are, or
Mhm.
animals, they do have different
Oh
wants
yeah.
and needs. So it's interesting to observe, for sure. But I practiced patience, right? So I chose to just see it as something that had to happen for me to become even more compassionate than I
Mhm,
have been before. Yeah, I mean, this is for me, every day is a test, or every moment is a test, especially when I'm interacting with beings, with you, with a human, with cats, with dogs, right? For me, it is always a moment of, okay, how am I showing up? How can I become better than I have been before? And this is my choice that I
mhm,
choose on my path to just develop myself towards being the best possible version that I can be. I love perfection as well. And this is, I do believe that we're somehow going there one day, though the right, the
one day.
one day can be quite frustrating if you can't be there, or what means can't
Let
be there
me,
yet, but if you have the collective yeah, thing
when I
going on
first
that we have here. Yeah, please.
when I first began receiving this information about what was happening in the world, and I'll just, so I want everybody to understand it, and then being told through my guides, because we all have intuition, we all hear things. I've just done it in different ways for many years.
Mm,
But anyway, and I was told that, oh, well, we gave you everything you needed to know in 2012. Now, I didn't understand that at the time. Now, since then, I've been able to put it back together. I've been able to string it together and understand why that happens, because we move through evolutionary periods in our lives and in the world, in our civilizations. It's happened since the beginning of time. And there's certain periods where you can see changes in society, changes in civilization, and we're doing that now. And so when I went back, but I'm saying, well, how could I have received this information in 2012? And then I was told that's because we're limited. We're limited and we think that things are happening and just want here, here, here. No,
mm,
everything's happening right now. So we have the ability to access any information that has ever existed because it's all in our consciousness. That's all we have. And so when I went back to find a message in 2012, I go, why does it look so terrible in the world? And then first message I found was one that said, conflict and unity always coexist in human experience. I go, what? I had to figure that out. We can't, because it says, well, you can't move ahead unless you answer the questions that conflicts that conflict brings to you. And so when we look at a conflict and we go, why is that happening? We get to ask a new question. And that question is going to be, oh, so that I could move through some limitation that I've had within myself.
It is a very weird journey at times, I must admit, and it feels like it felt not any longer, but it felt like torture sometimes, like life on this
That was
planet
my entire life.
can be can be can be very painful, right? So yeah, we're going through some stuff, that's for sure.
The reason I talk about everything and the reason I talk with you, the reason I have you and everybody else, because I want people to understand, because I've experienced more challenges and difficulties than a lot of other people. But see, that's how evolution happens as well. When we are able to understand what we have become and oh gosh,
She
what we
wants to
have
talk
become.
with us, yeah.
I know that's so crazy. But when we can
Yeah.
understand what we have moved through, it becomes quite different. But anyway, so this period, this particular period in the world looks really, it could seem really stressful until we say, oh, well, wait a minute, I have something to offer that could make it better. That's a really weird concept because we have not thought of ourselves as being that powerful. And that's because we have not understood the power of energy and that we all possess it. So again, this is where I come back to we are all equal because we all have the same amount of power because it's only consciousness. And if anybody can find something that would tell us this person has more power than the other that exists outside of energy, we won't find it. It doesn't exist. But we have not chosen to use it in a way that we could appreciate it, put it in ourselves, and make it manifest in the world. And that's what we're working on now.
When I found out that the choices that I made, like I came to a point where I could clearly see the consequences out of every single choice that I made. Looking back, before that, I also knew that if I make this choice now, I could calculate. So I could see through timelines my whole life, and I could be kind of see. And I wanted to go to certain directions. And we have to be aware of the consequences, and can I deal with it, or do I want to deal with what comes out of me drinking half a bottle Jägermeister? Yeah, obviously I dealt with the consequence, right? I got run over by a car on the highway. So although also this I knew somehow, I always knew somehow that I will have a major accident. So I did manifest something that not everyone makes the way out of, or not everyone stays alive. And we do manifest everything, I believe, everything in our life through the thoughts that we have, although when they're not always conscious and unconscious, and the actions that we take. So I thought about this car accident since I was little. So this is for how long this has been kind of waiting for me, if I can say so, but you know what I mean. And I wasn't surprised. I really wasn't surprised. I didn't remember how I ended up there. I had a blackout because of the alcohol that I had in. But I woke up and I knew that this had to happen because I had to wake up, and I chose this path for myself to become stronger and to evolve. And I think this is what we're at the end of the day aiming for anyway, that everything that we're doing helps us to grow and evolve if we see the positive of it and the solution, right? Which brings us back to higher state solutions.
But you're talking about things that for most people, for me, for most of my life would go way over my head because I couldn't have understood that. We have, how can I explain this? We have these paths, and what you're doing is going back. You had a memory that or something that you had agreed. I'm just going to explain it in the way that I saw
Oh, please.
here. what you said. When you were a
Hmm.
child, you had this memory of this accident that might happen. And so that memory was saying to you that it was alerting you to an agreement. And this is so hard for folks to get, an agreement that you accepted before you were born, that you said, oh, I will move through this experience because if I survive and if I come through it and I'm okay and I'm still here, then I can show others what is possible in human experience. You see, and that was an agreement I made before. When we can sort of try to accept that we are just consciousness, consciousness has always existed. It's never gone, even if our physical bodies leave. We think that that our physical bodies are all that. No, we are all consciousness. And to have an experience of what that is like, and I've had so many of them as people have died, because that's the thing that we're typically afraid of the most is our death. But then you start to understand, oh, well, I don't really die. So what am I afraid of now?
Mm.
So,
Uh, what if? What if I if I would have enjoyed my life, right? Like how many people are laying on a deathbed and they come closer to their essence and
that's
then actually regret
yes.
it. So I can't say that I regret anything. I went all in many ways and still do.
It's funny you should mention that. You have, I don't know if you've done this before, but I went and did a
What
search. I went and did a search to see what people said on their deathbeds. I promise you, I did that a long time ago because I
I
wanted to know.
hear, yeah,
Yeah.
many people talk about that, and I
Yes.
do
Yes.
understand. I mean, we see it, and we see the generations, and I think you are out of your generation and exception, and like for and a great example for what is possible,
Yes.
right?
That's what I'm talking about. This is what we each chose a role.
Mm, yeah,
And then if we choose self-love, then we're going to fulfill it. And that's the choice that's
and
difficult because we also have judgment.
for self-love, we at first have to do what we love, and we have to love what we do. If I do something that I don't like, why am I doing it?
Because it was programmed into you.
Eventually, right?
And now
Uh,
go back now what you said. Why there are many of us that will not do, okay. People question, why am I staying in this terrible job that I hate?
yeah, I quit.
It's because we think we need that for survival, and we've been taught that. So there are
Hmm.
programs that we have carried, and we carry them for generations, which is what's happening now. Let me go here. When I started receiving this information about a restructuring, I go, this is really crazy. Why is this happening? They said, well, you're moving through generational changes. And we can see this in the galaxies. We can see it in astronomy. We can look at astrology and even see movements of planets. We can see all of that. And then when we understand that everything is energy and all of those things affect it, we affect the energy of everything that's happening in the world through how we choose to think. And then we
Mm,
do our lives exactly
yeah,
the same way. But we don't come to understand that at one time. This is why the message yesterday was about you evolve gradually.
I love that. I love that because I sometimes I have to slow myself down, and
Mm,
you know this too, right?
mm,
So, and many of us do. Like I had this conversation with Jacqueline, who I have the other podcast with,
mm.
and like people want a quick fix, like
Yeah,
though,
that's
like, and we want to have it now, and especially now with this 5D understanding of the mind, we want to
Mhm,
have it now because we see it and we feel it. And I've been there, though my physical being had to catch up with
mhm,
the foods that I was eating, with the level of impact that I want to make, to see that I do have to sit and to plan and to structure and then to execute on it. Like this hasn't always been, I went right to execution.
mhm,
Though, like I forgot about the foundation. I mean, I catched up and I make mistakes, and again, won't regret anything that I did because I learned many lessons that I now can help others with. though there's no such thing than a quick fix, I think that we can then, if we make progress gradually, and then one day comes where we can just have a quantum leap, I do believe that, though this again is caused by the work that we put in beforehand.
This is the thing that was challenging for me to accept and understand, but I have now, because when I started
Researching something, right?
I'm fine. I'm just gonna
I can see. It's so cool.
I'm gonna read it to you. I'm gonna read it to everyone, because I want everyone to understand this, because it's true. How can I say that it's accurate for every single person? When we start to understand that, and this is again a difficult concept, because we have been taught something different, and that is when we can start to understand that every person is born equal. Let's just say that, because it's a soul. We can make different distinctions
If we're
about,
capable of seeing it as a form of energy, right? Again, like many people have not quite understood that yet, because they're living in this illusion of separation, and they have difficulties to see the bigger picture, right? So again, like, therefore has to be a certain level of awareness and understanding to see us that way, because in three-dimensional reality it doesn't make sense. Some kid comes in here and horrible things happen to this child, right? And then again, argue with someone who comes around the corner and says this should be equal, right? To just bring like a topic into here but that many people do not understand. So what is I know you have something to say.
And I'm going to read it, and I'm not going to share the message, because when I receive information, I want everyone to understand this, because I hid this stuff for so long, but I want people to get it. We live in our consciousness, and we can access other information. And there are a lot of people coming to me now, who are discovering, oh, wait a minute, something's happening. They're awakening to some spiritual aspect of themselves that they didn't even know existed, or something they just know that something is different. And so this one message I kept seeing, it says, this is what your work, our work is about getting. And if more people can accept this one message, you'll see a change in your life, and you'll see a change in the world. And I thought, okay, and I'll read you the message.
Before you do this, like, really for the introduction, like, Roger is channeling messages for years. Many of you eventually follow him for longer, but the channeled messages from Roger, they're on specific dates, and they always have something, like, the content is evergreen, if you know what that means. Or it's universal knowledge that you can apply at any time for your life, no matter which message you look at. So universal solutions basically for your life and for yourself. So show us what you got.
And the funny thing was, when I would receive some messages, and I would hear very clearly, put quotation marks around this word, because it's for emphasis. That's what it was. Okay. So this was 2012. Your story is unique and valuable. It is unique because no other soul shares precisely your story. It holds the utmost value for you. Your story is comprised of everything your past holds, including all that has occurred for you, happened to you, everything you have done, every person you have met, and every word you have spoken. All of it has been and always will be perfect. Your only job then is to seek to know the perfection of your story. Any aspect of your particular story that you attempt to ignore, dismiss, or judge will cause you to experience some difficulty, because you are refusing to receive the information and wisdom that your story holds. That was the message. And you just basically explained that when you were talking about some of your things and what you had gone through and what you came to understand. And that's how we all give back. But the problem is we have judgment also, because when we move through things, and because it took me forever before I would talk about anything, because I had done so much, I had accomplished so much, but I also had the shame and embarrassment of what I had done. How the heck is that helpful? If I'm not understanding, well, wait a minute, I moved through this and it was great. Why am I not telling others? And many people have this because we have ingrained shame and guilt that
Hmm.
we're meant to move through. And we're
Yeah.
all doing that heavily now.
Like I had a healing last week, the week before, 2 weeks ago. And there was something about helplessness through my ancestral line. Like, I don't know, like she said, 35 generations back, 35 in
Hmm.
my ancestral line of someone felt helpless.
Hmm.
And I have had that within my system. And
Hmm.
then sometimes, right, we feel certain things, or like we're acting in a way that has not even to do with us, though
Hmm.
we're here to heal for the collective, for our ancestors, just for us. And like sometimes we don't know why we're acting a certain way, or we're having blind
Hmm.
spots, and this is why it's important to talk with people who can help us, right? Or if I have the feeling that you can help me, then it's my responsibility to seek out help. Because we all are here to support each other, and there's no one better than the other. And it's not about to, oh wow, I can't talk about certain things because I feel
Right.
shame or I don't want to feel those emotions. But actually going in there heals it already, because the moment that you choose, or the moment that I choose to take responsibility for my helplessness, if I can
Hmm.
say so, right, and I start talking about it again right now, whilst I'm talking about it, I do keep healing it on a
Hmm.
very deep level. It helps me to ask for help. It helps me to talk about the things that are maybe uncomfortable.
Hmm.
And it's just great to share and to sit in that feeling as well.
I'll throw in one last thing because this will help, especially going back the 35, the generations or
Mm.
whatever it was. And as the information became started to make sense to me of what was
Mm.
coming through and what my work was about, I said, well, how do I know all of this? How do I have this? And I was told we all have infinite intelligence. We will access it. Whatever is appropriate for our lives, we will get there. And one of the things, and because there have been people who have given us information who have come before. We're supposed to take that information, improve upon it, and then our society, our world becomes more when we do that. And
Mm.
so I'm looking at, well, they said, my guide said, well, we
Oh,
gave you
that's
some of
cool.
Alfred Adler also. I go, why was that? Because you believe in inferiority. And he talked about it so much. He wanted you all to understand that you're not inferior, you see? And that's why he talked about it. So, oh, that is it. It's a belief that we have
Hmm.
accepted, and then we can accept it and carry it on for generations. That's what you were talking about, the going back and back to where we felt helpless. We were never that,
Mm-mm.
but we only come to understand that as we progress through our physical life experiences, and the world does the same thing, and the world is attempting to understand that now.
Powerful. It is like, I mean, we keep this for the next conversation, as I feel like you mentioned the proof thing,
Mhm.
right? Like we
Oh,
have to
we'll talk
prove
about that later. Yeah, yes. Okay.
exactly. So we can keep that topic,
Perfect. That's good.
because it at first great to keep some excitement for the next episode, or for the
Yes.
next time we're going live or upload the video. Um
And we all want proof. I'm so glad you said that. Everybody wants proof because we want proof before we do anything, before we move. We want proof. Okay, this is going to be good.
and yeah, exactly, right. We're playing this game in this dynamic. But yeah, so I think this was a great conversation.
Yes.
And just to leave it by there, Roger, what is tell the people how you serve, and how they can yeah, find out about what you do
How
and
I
the
s-
amazing program that you have
how,
developed here.
how I serve is that I've lived this. I know what people can accomplish. I know what they can do because I've done it. And this is again what we are each meant to do. When we can own what we've accomplished, we give it back to others. So my role now is to cause as many people as I possibly can to know their importance, to love who they are, to understand their life journeys, to figure that out so that they can add that light and love to our world, and then we make a big difference. That's what I'm up to doing. So, and I thank you
Boom.
for your help.
Brother, my pleasure. And thank you, right? There is an exchange of energy always if we do it the right way.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So if it feels great in alignment with who we are and what we come here for to create, to experience, there's I always win. I don't know such thing than losing because I always learn. And this is the way that I choose to live my life. And also the way that yeah, I came here to serve, right? To help others to, we mentioned the word power, to tap into
Mhm.
their power, to
Mhm.
accept that they're powerful, right? If you listen to this right now, you are powerful because you are another human being just like us, right? And we are all come here having certain features, certain gifts
Mhm.
and abilities that we're here to express. And they're unique in your way. You express yourself in the way that you are, not that I am or that Roger is. And this is what I love helping people do, right? Dive deep into themselves through
So,
the work that I'm
so the
doing.
next, great. So
Yeah,
the next talk will be on proof, and then the one after that
it's
will
so
be on
great.
power, and the next one after
Proof
that will
and
be on
power
power.
and
Because we'll talk about that.
power. Begin of this year,
Right.
I decided to take power as the word of the year, and it's been working
Mm.
pretty good. So yeah, stay powerful, become even more powerful today, or like now than you have been a minute ago. Just choose to be powerful, right? To find the choice back. You have to be there for yourself, right? You have to accept that you're powerful. You have to give yourself the permission. This is the word that I wanted to look for.
Mm.
Give yourself the permission to become as powerful as it gets.
It's so
Because
funny. When we talk next, I'm going to show people this. We're going to do some more proof because every
yeah,
time you speak, my Wilhelm is saying, "Yeah, we gave you that message. Yeah, we gave you that message." That's what I'm getting. But
this is so
we'll,
beautiful that your
yeah,
guides
we'll do
are,
that.
that you have that clear connection with it.
Oh yeah.
Then you get also the data of when this message has occurred, or you just type in
Mhm.
the words, or how does it work?
All I do, I hear it first, but okay, I'm just going to say this.
Yeah.
And this came up. It was such a joke the other day when I was working with a AI thing, and it says, "Well, I'm just a large language model." That you'll get
Mm,
that sometimes when you. It's just I can't answer certain questions. This is what you will get. I'm just a large language model, and I thought, oh,
mhm.
well, I'm kind of like that too, because somebody will say something, and I've written the information that can help them. So we'll talk about that in the next one. All
Yes,
right.
proof and power. So
Yes.
we're going to be live again tomorrow, actually. We
Tomorrow.
do
Yeah.
have another one scheduled in for tomorrow. And then, yeah, higher
Great.
state solutions with Roger Burnley and Jarne, Healing Magic 27. So you can find me on higher states on Telegram. You can also join Healing Magic 27, subscribe on YouTube, and follow on Instagram Healing Magic 27 on YouTube and Instagram, and Higher States channel on Telegram. And rogerburnley.com is the easiest way to find him, I guess.
Exactly. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you,
Thank you,
sir,
sir. Okay.
as appreciation. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching. We do appreciate you, and see you in the next episode.